Hello and welcome Simon's Trading Channel as my screen does something weird. Welcome back, hope you're all well. Happy Tuesday to you. Haven't the last 2 days been rather exciting in the world of the mighty Bitcoin? There's been an up and a down, very common in cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. So let's get straight on with the price action analysis. Thank you for joining me once again. My computer's having a bit of a brain absence, but here we are back online. So this is the 4 hour time frame. So starting the lower time frames and working my way up. So you can see this kind of up move and down move. So all of the gains were basically retraced for that move. And the writing was on the wall, right? So excuse me, on this downside move here, you can see there was bullish divergence on the 4 hour time frame, which was then borne out as the price closed above the midpoint of the Bollinger Band and then volatility expanded. But it didn't last very long because it was all kind of wiped out. And now on the 4 hour, momentum has shifted to the downside, as you can see down here with the MACD below the zero line. And indeed, it's kind of a bit of a range at the moment, really, with a range low. This is for the 4 hour time frame and daily, coming in at 78, which was the low point so far, and 95, which was the breakdown region after this long consolidation sideways. So a bit of volatility, but the bottom line is price hasn't done a great deal. However, momentum continues to be to the downside. So that's the 4 hour, and that will continue to be the case as long as Bitcoin is closing 4 hour candles below about 875. Now, if we switch to the daily, you can see there's a potential for something, right? There's a potential for something. And the potential is for regular bullish divergence on the daily time frame here, because you can see the current Wickler, which I just pointed out to you, was around sort of 78.5. Which also filled the CME gap. I was talking about that in my last video, as putting a low on the RSI here. Now, depending on where price action gets to, and depending on what the RSI does, so if, for example, on a daily time frame, we get, or Bitcoin gets a lower low here, so let's just say it comes down to say 75-ish, and then turns back up, as long as the RSI stays above the 23 read that it achieved on the last wick low, that'll be regular bullish divergence on a daily time frame, and that's probably going to lead to a decent bounce. The question then would be, well, is it a bounce or is it actually the start of a decent upside move and continuation of a bull market? And the answer to that question is nobody knows, because that's in the future, and nobody knows the future. But there's definitely the potential for that here. From the point of view of drawing random lines on the screen, Simon, from the point of view of momentum, all the time frames are to the downside, or certainly all the ones I look at, apart from the very high ones, and I'll show you those in a second. So the daily time frame momentum's to the downside, 4 hour, and you can see to even shrug that off, and the midpoint of the Bollinger Band sort of pretty much describes it well. It's sort of 94 for a daily closure, back above there, and then it's back into the range, and probably not too much more downside, probably more sideways, bit of consolidation, followed by hopefully an impulsive move to the upside. Will Bitcoin get to 150K in 2025? That's what everyone's wondering. Again, don't know, because it's in the future. However, I think that'll do it for the daily. Now we're going to move up to the weekly. And yes, it is only Tuesday, so I wouldn't read much into this candle. But you can see last week's candle did manage to close above the midpoint of the Bollinger Band. But unfortunately, this week has opened up in a rather negative way. So there's, there's a good 5 days left until this perpetual Bitcoin candle closes. And momentum's definitely still to the upside. However, the price action to me looks like it's going to have a go at the bottom of the Bollinger Band, the bottom line of the Bollinger Band, which coming in on the weekly time frame around that 74. So kind of like mid to low 70s, I'm thinking is very likely on this weekly time frame. That doesn't change the trend, and remember, the trend is your friend. So the weekly trend is still very much to the upside, And just look at this consolidation segment that bored the living daylights out of us all, that went on for 6 months prior to the impulsive move to the upside that brought Bitcoin to its current all-time high. You can see it was hovering around the midpoint of the Bollinger Band. There was no weekly volatility expansion in either direction, and then when it did happen, it was to the upside along with the trend. So to me personally, and none of this is financial advice, but for me personally, a good bit of consolidation here on a weekly time frame, get those Bollinger Bands narrowed right in, and then price action living above the midpoint of the Bollinger Band prior to expansion of volatility would look great for maybe one more impulsive move in this bull market, and then bring on 2026 when we can look forward to buying Bitcoin at massive discounts in the bear market. So I'll leave it at that. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If so, please like and subscribe, and join me next time for another one of my videos. Take